Hello, everyone. I am back. I know it's been a while. It's been well over, I think, a month and a half, almost 2 months since I last came to you. I have the results in the Decipher test that I told you about from my first video about my prostate cancer journey. The results are in for this. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give you a quick recap. Then I'm gonna get into the results of the test and we're gonna wrap it up. So this is gonna be a lot shorter video than the first one. So if you remember in the first video that I put out, it was just giving an update that I found out that I have a diagnosis of prostate cancer. Found that out around December timeframe of last year. And what that did, that started a whole journey of then having consults with different oncologists. But let me back up a bit. If you recall, I tried to talk about the Gleason score that I received. I had a Gleason score sum of 6. That means of all the samples they took out, which they took out a total of 12 core samples for my prostate. Of the 12, 5 of them came back positive with cancerous cells. Those cancerous cells were rated as 3 plus 3. That means of that cancerous core of that tumor, it was in that grading system of 3. That means it is not normal, which is 1. And 5 is considered extremely abnormal cells. 2 through 4 are considered some range between normal and abnormal, right? And so I fell in the 3 category, and then of that tumor, there's a percentage of it that will be cancerous and another one, and it's also trying to see, and it comes up with the sum. So mine were 3 plus 3. 6 was the sum of the Gleason score. That's considered low risk and low grade. That sounds positive. That sounds great. But as I was talking to one of the PAs of the oncologist consults that I had, they said being African American, we need to take it a step further. We need to go into a little more detail just to be sure, because you could be considered low grade, low risk, but if you get the Decipher test, the Decipher test is a genomic test. It's looking at 22 genes that are indicators or markers of the aggressiveness of your prostate cancer. It is looking at these markers to determine what's the probability or the risk factor of your cancerous cells spreading or metastasizing outside of your prostate. The Decipher test also have found, the National Cancer Institute found that many African American men, almost twice the amount of African American men, found that even though they had low Gleason scores, some of them had the Decipher test and it determined, but they had high risk or probability of their cancer spreading. When you look at them both from the clinical Gleason perspective and from the genomic perspective, and you put the two together, you can really determine if you are indeed low risk, low grade, or are you at a higher level. So that's why I got the Decipher test done. I wanted to be sure because as I was looking at treatment options, a lot of the oncologists I was seeing in the consult said, you might want to do active surveillance, which is a do nothing option. It's where you monitor the cancer. You don't go through any treatment. Because remember, these treatments could also harm healthy cancer cells. I mean, not cancer cells, healthy cells in the body. And so a lot of times doing nothing if you don't have to is a better option than actually doing something to your body. And when that came up, I wanted to be sure about it, and I had the Decipher test. It takes a few months for the results to come back of the Decipher test. The results are finally in. So I'm going to show you and tell you where did I land. I'm going to share with you what risk category, the percentages where they put me in based on this test. So again, the Decipher genomic risk group that I am in is, let me give you the scale. So there are 3 scales for the Decipher test. low risk, which is 0 to 0.45, 0.45 to 0.6 is considered intermediate. Anything above 0.6 to 1.0 is considered high risk. Again, 0 to 0.45, low risk. 0.45 to 0.6, intermediate. And everything above 0.6 to 1 is high risk in the Decipher test. The results for me was I landed at 0.23. That put me in the low risk category. And based on me being 0.23 in the low risk category, there are 3 risk estimates that they give you at the bottom of your report. The first one is, what is the chance of my cancer? Because remember, this test is looking at the aggressiveness of your cancer. What is the risk of it metastasizing, which is spreading through the body, in 5 years and 10 years? And what's the risk, your survival risk, in 15 years? What's the risk of mortality? So I came in at the 5-year mark, a 0.3% chance of it metastasizing, of it spreading. That's very low. That's less than 1% chance. At the 10-year mark, 0.6% chance of it spreading. Again, less than 1% chance of my cancer spreading, metastasizing throughout my body. And at the 15-year mark, the risk of prostate cancer mortality for me is 0.5%. So that's less than 1% chance after a 15-year period of cancer mortality. So this was all positive news. And what this does, this is like an overlay again, the Gleason Clinical. This is genome, 22 genes that act as markers that determine how aggressive your cancer is acting, and it gives you those indicators of what's the potential or the probability of it spreading beyond your cancer. This was good news. This keeps me in the low risk, low grade category. This makes me an excellent candidate for active surveillance. I talked about that in the first video. Recap on that. Active surveillance is when you check your PSA like every 3 months. Some cases you get another MRI. You get MRI tests again to look at your prostate. And on an annual basis, you'll get another prostate, a biopsy. So it's actively monitoring your cancer. So it's not a do nothing option. It's an option where something's actually being done. You're just not doing a treatment option. But you are keeping an eye, or the medical professionals are keeping an eye on your cancer to make sure things are staying the same or even getting better. So once I got these results back, immediately the PA of the oncologist that I'm working with put in an order for me to go get another PSA check, because I hadn't had one since this triggered this all last year when I had the elevated PSA of 4.97. So I got another PSA. It just came back a few weeks ago, and it was at 4.23. So actually my PSA level has decreased from where this all started. So that was great news as well. And there are a lot of indicators of what your PSA level could be high or why it could be lower. But again, that's one indicator. You don't want to go off of that completely. Remember, I said it before, there are men who are in range, which 4 or less, in range, and still found out they had prostate cancer. And then there are men that had elevated PSA, and some didn't have prostate cancer. So remember, the PSA is one indicator. It is a good indicator though, because again, for me, it is what led me down this road. The 4.97 triggered my PCP to say, let me send you to urologist. The urologist said, given you have a family history, remember I told you my father had prostate cancer, given my family history, let's get an MRI done. The MRI saw something, saw a spot in my prostate. It was inconclusive. Went to the biopsy level. Biopsy came back again. 5 of those 12 samples came back with cancer. And now this is also another layer of indicator to say you are low risk, you are definitely low grade, and here are the percentages and probabilities. That's all good news. I still have to make a decision. I haven't made a final decision of what I'm going to do. Do I still feel like I want to treat the cancer anyway? Or do I just want to actively monitor it, which that process has already started with me. I'm somewhere in between. I haven't made that final decision, but I will shortly. But I wanted to give you an update. I wanted to let you know where things were with me. I want to say thank you to all of you, all of the comments. I've received so many comments. So much information was shared. And that's what I love about this. It's also like a forum where we're sharing information with one another. We're trying to help one another out. And for me specifically, if I can help another man get you on the off the fence of just going to the doctor and getting that exam done, get an annual physical, have them check your prostate, check your PSA level, or do the digital rectal exam, however they do it. You need to find out, especially if you're 40 years or older, maybe even younger, if you have a history of that in your family, like your father, grandfather, someone like that. Please, guys, I really want you to just get checked. I know how you may feel about doctors. I know you feel like ignorance is bliss by not knowing, but it's not the way to approach this. You really don't want to, especially if you have people who love you, you have spouse, you have kids. You need to do this. If nothing else, do it for them. So I urge you again, get checked and find out where you stand with this, because if you're having some symptoms, find out what's the root cause of those symptoms that you may be having. I am, again, going to keep you updated. I want to say thank you to all of you again. My wife's channel, she created this channel to give back. She's a medical professional and been doing this for many, many years. But she shares authentically from her heart the things that she's gone through from a medical perspective as well. And at the same time, we're both believers. We're both disciples of Christ. And so what that means for us is that, we put our faith in God, but we also know that God can direct and guide medical professionals at the same time. So it's a balance of the two. And we just wanted to give back to you. So I hope this has helped. I hope I shared something in this video that would help you and encourage you to get checked, or give you some ideas and some thoughts about what are the next steps for you. Maybe you've gotten the news about prostate cancer, the diagnosis. Rest assured, we're going to make it through this together. I'm praying for you, as many of you are praying for me. It's a process. It's part of life, and we're going to make it through it. So I just want to say I'm with you, I'm praying with you, and I'm going to keep you, again, abreast on the journey that I'm on. That's all I have. This video was going to be short. It was going to be sweet. I just wanted to give you the update. The Decipher test is in, and we will be talking some more when I make a determination of what's going to be next. So we will talk soon. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.